Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's Insights and Inspiration covering all things soul, body, sex. My name is Monique Gomez, your coach and teacher, so you can become spiritually embodied, learn all about conscious sexuality, and awaken to the truth of who you are so you can live in your bigness, in your fullness, in your wholeness. Amazing. Today, we are going to be talking about touch. So, we're going to get into the truth of touch, and touch can be a touchy subject, pun intended. But I have been a body worker for over 12 years, a massage therapist, that is. So I have not only seen the benefits of touch, but felt the benefits of touch, learned about how important touch is as a human on this planet. And that is what I want to share with you today. Plus, we are going to go over guidelines on how to touch, just very general guidelines to keep in mind as you interact with people in your life. Okay. So, touch is one of the most underrated yet highly effective healing tools we have as humans. Touch is your primary language of compassion and connection. It's this sense that actually boosts your immune system and creates connection with others and is needed to thrive and actually survive if we want to get real. So, today, the primary way we are connecting is through technology. And as amazing as this is, because I love it, right? I mean, I get to talk with people all around the world, face to face, from the comfort of my home. So I'm about it. But it's severely lacking in the physical touch department. Duh, right? Obviously. And unfortunately, there are some major consequences to that because we are, as humans, social creatures. And that is the way we socialize is through our senses. And touch specifically is how we learn about other people and who we are in community and connection. So touch is the first sense to actually develop, and it is through the same cells as your nervous system. So you actually begin to learn about touch in the womb. So think about that. You're already learning what touch is before you even get into this world, right? And then as you grow older, usually touch functions way after seeing and hearing and the other senses kind of maybe not function so well. So this is considered a lifelong sense, and it actually also is the sense that affects your central nervous system so that you can go into a state of relaxation pretty quickly through touch. Okay. So when you experience a loving, safe touch, there's actually a ton of chemical hormonal reactions that go on inside your body. And one of the hormones that gets released is oxytocin. And this is the bonding hormone. This is the feel-good hormone that boosts your mood, again, increases your immune system, and actually decreases stress and tension. So this is a good hormone. We want this hormone in our body. And, touch not only does this whole hormonal thing inside, but it is also about communication. In our social sense, animals all over the planet use touch as their main source of communication. And as humans, we have touch just incorporated in our daily lives. Things like handshake, very, very typical in Western culture to give a handshake. In other cultures, we have hugs and we have kisses on the cheek. These are greetings. These are ways we greet one another is through touch. But most importantly, it's a way that we get to feel and connect and feel comfort for another person with compassion, right? So scientific studies have shown that touch is a necessary element of life. Actually, in one study they had newborns that were provided with abundant food and shelter, but they weren't provided with touch. And what they saw was that these newborns didn't thrive at all. And some of them didn't even survive because they actually needed the touch. And during World War II, there were so many orphanages that were understaffed and overbooked. So a lot of children were just in their cribs and they were rarely touched. And so this resulted in children not getting proper attention. And usually they had developmental disabilities or they developed a lot slower. So I just mentioned those things because there has been science to prove the touch the importance of touch. There's this woman, Tiffany Field, who does a lot in the touch research game. If you want to look up her work, it's incredible. And just to reiterate, we need it to grow and to develop. And as children, we learn about our environment through touch. And we also learn how to love and how to have affection from touch, right? So when we are learning about our environment as children, oftentimes, unfortunately, we're either scolded or giving orders about touching, right? So some orders for safety, right? That makes sense. So some of these orders that adults give us are for safety reasons because we want to keep the child safe. But they can create this idea that touch is bad, For example, at some point in your life when you were a child, I'm sure you're just exploring your environment, other people, whatever, and you hear, keep your hands to yourself, right? That is on a subconscious level detrimental because you have this innocent desire to touch, to explore, and you get quickly condemned, right, to make something bad or negative. So comments like this can directly inform how you shaped your relationship with your world and with others and what touch means, right? So you can let go of these old beliefs around touch so that way you can create healthy boundaries and healthy ideas of your touch experience, not only with yourself, but with others. And as an adult, so this is another aspect is as an adult, we only learn or we only get touch if it's in a sexual environment. And because of this, most of the time, us adults severely lack nurturing, non-sexual touch. And this is the kind of touch you need as a human to grow and develop, to feel relaxation, to feel compassion, to feel affection. So I would love for you to rediscover touch as an opportunity for healing, right? To reform touch and think of touch as an honor, right? To touch another human, it's an honor. It requires your attention and love. And to receive touch is also a gift if that touch is something that you're feeling safe and you're willing to experience. So be mindful of ways that you touch others and notice if you're asking for permission or if you're just assuming that you can, right? And also notice the unspoken agreements that you have with certain relationships in your life about touch. For example, your partner, there's an unspoken relationship probably that you can touch more than say your coworker, right? Or like your baby, there's an unspoken relationship you're going to touch more often in certain ways, right? So just also noticing where touch is appropriate in your relationships and boundaries and what you love for touch. So one thing also to remember is that self-touch is one of the biggest healing tools, especially if you're uncomfortable with touch from others. So learning how to just touch your skin, right? So just doing touching practices can be really, really helpful in this healing process of learning boundaries, learning about touch. Especially if you are inside right now and maybe you don't have a partner or a lot of family around, you can use self-touch tools to get the sensation of touch engaged. And I do have a course that I will link called Self-Touch Healing. If you're interested in that, you can follow the link, okay? I'll link that below. So here are some guidelines to touch. So these are just, again, general guidelines as you work through your touch dynamic. So the first one always is presence. So be 100% present. When you're touching others, notice that that's another human, right? If you're touching yourself, notice that you are a human, that you deserve this kind of touch and attention. So, and remember also that this body that you're touching, whatever body it is, has gone through a whole bunch of stuff, it has gone through very pleasurable experiences to the very traumatic. It is not different. And the extremes can change the range, but it all exists within this body. So be mindful of that and honor that because that is important, right? That's important to know, is to see that body as this person's experiment, or this whole, not experiment, but this whole experience of life is in this body for that person. So honoring that, giving it your full attention and presence. Go slow. So this is guideline number 2. Go slow. Slowing down actually allows each person to really get that sensation more fully. So it gives the giver a chance to pick up on the intuitive and energetic body, and it gives the receiver a chance to really sink in, right? And the giver also can pick up on the non verbal feedback that the body is giving. So paying attention to that. Don't go too soft or don't go too hard, right? So too soft can be irritating or ticklish, but too hard actually creates a stress response in the body. If your touch is way too hard or it's like jarring to somebody, the body actually goes into stress hormone release. That is what you want to avoid. So that mantra, no pain, no gain, not real in this case at all. And ask for feedback. If you're touching others, ask for feedback. If you're touching yourself, ask yourself for feedback. Like, what is this feeling like? Is this too much? Is this too low? But verbalizing what you need to know and asking specific questions like, would you like more or less pressure here? Those are good questions. Keep it specific. And finally, use your breath. Use your breath to connect first with yourself, and then you can use your breath to connect with the other if you are touching the other. So remembering that your breath is a huge is your anchor to this life, is that person's anchor to their life, right? So when you can connect to your breath and then connect to their breath, you have this deep, deep connection with that person in that moment and honoring that. And then now, I hope those guidelines help you. And I would love, love, love for you to take some action by answering these inner reflection questions. So reflect on, what is your relationship with touch right now? Do you like it? Do you not? There's no right or wrong. I'm just curious. Is touch part of your daily experience right now? If so, in what ways are you getting touched? If not, in what ways would you like to get touched? Or do you feel like you need touch? And then what else would you love to learn about touch specifically? And if you can answer those, put your answers in the comment below because I would love, love, love to read them. Okay. And you can also head over to moniquegomez.com for more on creating a spiritually embodied life and all things related to soul, body, sex. And when you're there, don't forget to sign up for my email list where you get more inspirations, freebies, and just overall love that I get to share specifically with my group of people than I do with everyone in this little podcast or this little YouTube here. So remember, above all else, please remember, you, my dear, deserve your time and attention always. Until next time, I'll see you next week. Enjoy touch and your exploration of it. Take care.